Joining me in the studio right now, my congressman, the congressman from the 3rd Congressional District, Dr. Joe Heck. Doctor, welcome back to the show.
Hey, thanks, Alan. Thanks. Nice, beautiful new office.
Like that?
Studio. Yeah, it's a nice place. Glad to be here.
Closer to my home and closer to your office, too.
That's true. Very easy to get here today.
Easier for both of us, actually. All right. A lot of things to talk about. I know you want to talk to Dr. Joe Heck, and you have things to chat with him about. Want to talk about what he meant by having the parties want to work together to fix the economic mess. He just came back from Iraq and Pakistan, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
We'll find out what you thought about what's going on over there. I want to take your calls as well. It's 733-KXNT, 733-5968. And I guess let's start out with your trip over there to Iraq and Pakistan. I mean, are we doing the job that we're supposed to be doing? The people seem, every time I read something, it seems that the people want us to get out.
Yeah. Well, you know, it was a very interesting trip. It was 6 days. We went to Iraq, Pakistan, then Afghanistan. I had the opportunity to, in Iraq and Afghanistan, visit with our troops, visit with the senior military leaders, get their perspective of how things were going, what their plans are for the drawdown. You know, we're supposed to be out of Iraq by the end of this year, out of Afghanistan by 2014. We met with the leaders of each country, the prime ministers and the president of Afghanistan, to get what they thought was going on. And I can tell you that it's, you know, I think we're certainly making progress in Iraq, as we know, as we're starting our drawdown there, and more responsibilities being turned over to the Iraqis to provide for their own security. You know, are they ready to take on that task 100%? No. Will we probably still need to have some type of presence there after December of this year? Yes. The question is, how is that going to be negotiated between Iraq and the current administration? I think we're going to need to have a certain advisory force there to make sure that they can continue to take on the security needs. Afghanistan, we're moving along. The Afghan National Police have made significant strides, considering that this was previously an illiterate police force. I mean, the literacy rate was less than 10%. So not only are we teaching them to be police officers, we're teaching them how to read. And they are making incredible strides. And right now, all operations in Afghanistan are being done in conjunction with either the Afghan National Police or the Afghan Army. And they have proven themselves to be very competent and capable in providing some security for themselves. So I think we're on the right path. The question is whether or not these preconceived timelines are reasonable.
All right. I know that we still have some troops in Europe after World War II, part of a NATO force, but nonetheless troops in Europe. We still have some troops in Japan and other parts of the Pacific. And in a moment, I'm going to ask you whether or not you see that we're going to wind up with some troops in Iraq, Afghanistan, and some of the Middle East countries 50 and 60 years from now as a peacekeeping force. Dr. Joe Heck is joining me in studio, congressman from the 3rd Congressional District. And if you want to join in, I know you will, once you start talking especially about how the parties have to come together to fix the economic crisis. 733-KXNT, 733-5968. I'm Alan Stock. Your calls and more coming up to Dr. Joe Heck next at 100.5 FM News Radio, KXNT.
Wake up with the most comprehensive morning news show with Joe Gillespie and the KXNT News Team.
Reports of a robbery at the Rio this morning.
There was an overnight officer-involved shooting.
100.5 FM News Radio, KXNT.
Great news. There are 40 TV channels broadcasting in Vegas, including our local high-def channels. Don't pay for TV. With a digital-ready TV and an antenna.
77, the percentage of us who watch DVD and Blu-ray. I'm Brian Cooley from CNET with Technology by the Numbers. 77% of Americans have watched a DVD or Blu-ray in the last 3 months, according to NPD Group research. 68% watched a movie on TV or a cable channel, 49% went to the movies, and 21% did a paid video on demand via their home TV. Now, all of those may be at their peak and on the way down. DVD and Blu-ray sales and rentals in stores dropped 9% in 2010. Among those of us with broadband, 78% have a handheld device that's able to stream video, and 39% of us have used that or a computer to watch TV content weekly, and 25% have done so daily, according to research from Horowitz Associates. It's all part of a major trend that is divorcing the content we call TV from the device we call TV. With Technology by the Numbers, I'm Brian Cooley from CNET.
Every week, get the story behind the story at 60 Minutes Overtime, the web show that begins where the television broadcast ends. Then revisit our archives with 60 Rewind.
In a world where glamour is out and reality is in, two remnants of the glitter age not only hang on but thrive. Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton.
Now, I must say we enjoy fighting.
Not just another news site. This is storytelling for a new generation. This is 60MinutesOvertime.com.
Wednesdays on CBS.
Why out of 300 million Americans was this person killed?
That's what we have to find out.
Dare to go inside TV's #1 suspense thriller.
We're here because we care.
Thank you.
Criminal Minds. Then Emmy winner Forrest Whitaker.
Lives are at stake. Minutes count. Let's move.
And Janine Garofalo star.
I promise you, we will find him.
In a drama with a mind all its own.
The why is going to lead us to the who.
Criminal Minds. Suspect behavior. After Criminal Minds. Wednesdays only CBS.
Start your Thursdays with a bang.
A feel-good romp if there ever was one.
There's only one way to describe TV's smartest comedy, Nerdalicious.
I believe you know why I'm here.
I always figured it was to study us and report back to your alien overlords.
The Big Bang Theory. Then David Spade stars in the show that breaks all the rules.
I had a date last night. I wake up this morning, she's still there.
Why spend time getting to know a woman when it merely increases her chances of picking you out of a lineup?
Rules of engagement. Following The Big Bang Theory. Thursdays, only CBS.
The following is a KXNT News Special, The American Dream, Home Ownership. Where are we now?
5:15 at KXNT. We'll get back to Dr. Joe Heck in just a moment right here on KXNT. Now, as you may recall, last November, the KXNT news staff produced a series of special reports about the housing crisis in Las Vegas. Well, that was 6 months ago. But our staff will be reporting for the next 2 weeks with an update. And this afternoon, well, recent news that home sales are in Las Vegas. Some saying the worst the housing crisis is over, but real recovery may not be as close as you may think. Today, KXNT's Corey Olson takes a look at where the market is now and where there's still bumpy roads ahead.
No market in the country has been hit harder by the housing crisis over the past 3 years than Las Vegas. Recent months have shown a slight increase in Vegas home sales. So does that mean we've hit bottom?
A certain part of the market has hit rock bottom. That would be the lower price stuff. But the middle price stuff, $300,000 and above, has definitely not hit rock bottom yet.
Stephen Norton is a local real estate professional who has studied the housing crash extensively. He says Vegas is unique in that prices are still low, even though there's a low supply of homes on the market. That's because many banks have slowed or stopped foreclosing on properties, creating a logjam in the market.
Somebody needs to step in and convince the banks that they need to foreclose, and they just need to just do it on everything and get it over with and let us crash and hit the rock bottom so we can start recovery.
Until then, he says there will be no recovery in the local real estate market.
I believe we've already had our double dip. I believe we're heading towards our triple dip.
The only real solution for the local housing market is for the world economy to turn around.
So that we can finish building these casinos and we could staff them with employees. And until we do that, we're not going to start recovering. We've got a ways out to go.
Right now, he estimates that recovery is at least 5 years away. I'm Corey Olson, 100.5 FM News Radio, KXNT.
Tomorrow at 3:12, Kristen Flowers will look at the bank's responsibility when it comes to the housing crisis. And this KXNT Housing Special has been sponsored in part by Premier Mortgage Lending, home of Another Chance Home Loan Program, by Steve Norton, your Prudential Real Estate Agent, by KB Home, new homes from the 110s, and by Alliance Investor, insight and education for the modern investor. Great series. Joining me in studio right now is our congressman, and that is Congressman Joe Heck, Dr. Joe Heck from the 3rd Congressional. Good to have you here.
Thanks, Alan. Good to be back.
All right. So I wanted to go back to the question I asked before. A fair question. I mean, you see we're making some progress, but you see that, it's a longer haul than we had thought in Iraq and Afghanistan. We just got back from a congressional fact-finding tour. We still have troops in Europe. 60 some odd years later, we still have troops in Japan under different auspice, but they're still there. Could you see us actually having troops in the Middle East, Iraq, Afghanistan, some of the areas possibly 60 years from now as peacekeeping forces?
I think we'll have troops there for the foreseeable future. I think as we reevaluate the security situation globally, we'll start to see troops move from where they currently are, perhaps more troops out of Europe and move them into bases into the Middle East, moving them to where the more recent hotspots are. But I think in the short term, the issue is whether or not both Iraqi and Afghanistani forces are at the point where they can provide comprehensively their own security within that preconceived timeline that's been laid out. And I don't think they will be. And I think just in the short term, we're going to have to provide some additional resources in the way of forces, primarily as military advisors and trainers, to get them to the point where they'll be able to assume complete responsibility.
You're listening to Dr. Joe Heck, Congressman from the 3rd District, 733-KXNT, 733-5968. Let's talk a little bit about your speech yesterday to the state legislature, where you said that it was both Democrats and Republicans who are responsible for the economic mess. You're correct. But they need to both work together in Washington and Carson City to clean it up. I think that sounds great, Doctor. I really, really do. Problem is, Republicans say, we've got to clean this mess up by cutting spending and reducing taxes and encouraging businesses to move here. And Democrats are saying, you're out of your mind. The only way to get businesses to move here is to spend more on education, improve education, spend more, and we're going to have to raise taxes to do it. So forget about it. So how do these two sides come together to work together? You're right. They got to work together. But how can they do it?
Well, I think at some point in time you've got to come together and say, look, what's been proven to work in the past? And when you look at nations that have had global recessions in the past, those that have come out of the recessions quicker have been the ones that have actually curtailed spending and cut taxes. I mean, it's a fact. If you look at it through the world's economy, that is what the greatest stimulator was to recovery. And I think it's a matter of being able to show people what will work. Now, granted, you've got to come together. You've got to be able to have an intelligent adult conversation on the topics. You can't be, heels dug in, on specific ideology. But, when you look at what's happened over the past, 10 or 11 years, as I mentioned, both parties, have been at fault. Both parties have spent, very, large amounts of money without much benefit to the American taxpayer. That was why we now are over $14 trillion in debt. And until we realize, that if we don't control our spending now, we will leave a shadow of a nation to our children and grandchildren. We will not be able to get our hands around this problem.
But you've got to look at John Osagura would look at you and he would say, you're absolutely correct. Democrats and Republicans have got to work together to solve this problem. The problem is that we're not going to bring new businesses to Nevada till we improve education. In order to do that, we've got to spend more. To spend more, we can't reduce taxes. We have to increase them. So right off, initially you've got that agreement. Let's Democrats, Republicans work together. But you're saying potato, they're saying potato, and nobody's changing pronunciation here.
Well, and you're right, Alan. I mean, you get into this game of who's going to play chicken, and who's going to blink first. And the fact is, in that argument, you're assuming that, or they're assuming that increased, finances is what's necessary to increase education. And obviously there's those of us that believe it's not the amount of money you put in the education system, it's the quality of the education
I agree with
system.
you, but how do you convince them then of the same thing? I mean, listen, I'm on your side in this, but I also happen to know that their side is not agreeing with you and not agreeing with me either. And they think that you're absolutely totally wrong, that I'm totally wrong, and that they're going to dig their heels in. Republicans hopefully will dig their heels in too. I don't want Republicans to give in and go, well, you know what? I mean, we had that with some of the other folks who are now out of office, not too long ago. And we don't need the rhinos, with all due respect to them here. We need to dig their heels in. But if Republicans dig their heels in, and so do the Democrats, then how do you have a coming together of the two parties to resolve the problem?
Well, and that's been the issue we faced for decades. But nonetheless, it is what the goal should be, is to be able to come together for the greater common good and figure out what parts of each individual or each party's platform makes sense. I mean, you just can't dismiss ideas out of hand. Certainly we've got different ideology, we've got different ideas. It's how can you build on those common ideas, if any, to move the agenda forward and really what's best for the American people, what's best for Nevada.
733-KXNT, 733-5968. How do you think we should bring the two sides together? And what are your questions for Dr. Joe Heck at 733-KXNT? But how do you think we should bring the two sides together? I think it's a near impossible task, because Republicans are saying, you know what, I'm not going to raise taxes. I'm not going to give in. I'm not going to raise taxes. Democrats are going, you know what, I'm not going to cut spending. I'm not going to cut spending to schools. I'm not going to do that. And each side has got, it's entrenched, I think, in their own, in their own philosophies. And yes, I happen to agree with one over the other. So do you, Doctor. But, the other side is going, yeah, but we're the majority and we're going to fight on that side. And again, we'll come back and talk about Congress too, because this same battle we're talking about in the State House is going on in Congress with you and all of your colleagues as well. 733-KXNT, 733-5968. We'll get back to Dr. Joe Heck, Congressman from the 3rd, and your calls in just a moment right here on KXNT. Quickly, want to tell you about Zero Res. Wow, Zero Res, what an amazing company. Zerorez is the only company in the country that uses 21st century technology. Now, no one debates this. Everyone agrees, who knows what they're talking about, that Zerorez is the best. They clean with just water. That means no soaps, no detergents. Now you say, why? Because soap left in your carpet attracts all dirt like a magnet, and that's exactly what spots and dirty traffic patterns are all about when they reappear. It's soap. Here's something else you may not know. Soap causes your carpets to be crunchy when they dry. For those people who say, I just got my carpets washed, and they're nice and crunchy and clean, let me tell you something, it's just the opposite. It's just the opposite. Your carpets are full of soap and they're filthy. Do yourself a favor and call the folks over at Zerorez because they are the best. They've got the empowered water treatment, and that's patented technology. And there's a reason our whole family uses Zerorez, because they are, without a doubt, the absolute best. You'll become a raving fan of Zerorez as I am by calling 567-0016, 567-0016. Zerorez, LasVegas.com, another way to contact them. Tell them Alan Stock sent you. You get 3 rooms clean and sanitized for only $129. That's 567-0016, 567-0016, and you will become a raving fan of Zerorez.
You're listening to Las Vegas's only live and local talk show in the afternoon, the Alan Stock Afternoon News Show.
So let me understand this. You want people to take responsibility for their lives?
On 100.5 FM, News Radio, KXNT.
And their own children.
Responsibility for their own children. What planet are you from, woman?
Go to CBSVegas.com now and sign up for Las Vegas deal alerts by email. CBSVegas.com saves you money every day on Las Vegas.
Meet Sage, auto repair expert, and Ted Ween's spokesdog. Here's some sage advice from Ted Ween's Tire and Auto Centers. Summer is just around the corner, and the extreme summer heat can do a number on your car. Air conditioning, radiators, batteries, and tires are most at risk for heat damage. To keep the crisp, cool air blowing all summer long, it's important to know that your radiator coolant and entire AC unit is in tip-top shape. And now is a good time to check the wear and tear on those tires for summer road trips. Do you agree, Sage? Bring your vehicle into any of Ted Ween's 12 convenient locations for Sage's summer solutions, including an air conditioning system check for only $19.95. That's right, only $19.95 to make sure you're cool all summer long. Sage wants to help you avoid the dog days of summer. Stay tuned for more Sage advice. From Ted Ween's Tire and Auto Centers. Air conditioning check excludes refrigerant.
I can see clearly, so very clearly now. Both near and far, I can see everything now.
Hi, Alan Stock here for LASIK of Nevada. I just had premium LASIK by Dr. Rothman at LASIK of Nevada. I already can see better than 20/20. I had the mono procedure, and it's truly the procedure I've been waiting for. It's even safer, more comfortable, and more precise than ever before. You too can have the gift of better sight. Ask for the Alan Special with free consultation, 50% off premium LASIK, and guaranteed financing. Call 636-2010 and ask for the Alan Stock Special. Call 636-2010. Call 636-2010 for a free consultation. No more glasses, no more contacts. You will see clearly now.
For better sight, all right. Call LASIK of Nevada today.
Christina Aguilera, Adam Levine, Blake Shelton, and CeeLo are the celebrity coaches of NBC's new singing competition, The Voice, and they know what they want.
You have the talent and you have that voice and you have that passion. It's just going to shine through.
When they hear it, they're going to fight to get it.
I really need you to pick me.
So what coach would you choose?
I don't want to make anybody feel bad.
The Voice premieres tonight, only on NBC.
527 at KXNT. Good afternoon. I'm Alan Stock. Thanks so much for being with us. Dr. Joe Heck, Congressman from the 3rd Hour. Congressman is here in studio with me, taking your calls at 733-KXNT, 733-5968. Dave, good afternoon. You're on KXNT with Congressman Joe Heck.
I just had a comment. I think that the Senate and the House should institute term limits so that we don't make this a career for these guys, because when it's a career, they really don't vote for the people's interest. They vote on what's going to keep their jobs. We need to set, just like the president has a term limit.
The president, the governor, our state assembly people, our state senators, our mayor, they all have a Dr. Joe Heck term limits, yes or no?
Well, the people in Nevada voted for term limits for the legislature at 12 years, and I said when I was campaigning that I would abide by what the people in Nevada had voted for the legislature, which means I wouldn't serve in the House for more than 12 years. I don't personally agree with term limits. I think you have them every time you have an election. People say, well, then you have entrenched incumbents, but, my first race was against a 20-year incumbent, and I won. I think that if you have the right candidate with the right message at the right time, that you can beat an entrenched incumbent. But, because the people in Nevada spoke and that's what they want, that's what I will abide by.
Well, in this case, I'm going to disagree with you, even though I vote for you, and I agree with Dave, because what I see is that there are people who do get entrenched, and I think there are people, and I am present company totally excluded, but there are people I think who get into the legislature, state, or in the federal legislature, who try to keep themselves in there forever. Harry Reid, 6 terms. I mean, and I just see that. I think our forefathers thought it was going to be a citizen legislature back in D.C., and I think what Dave's talking about is trying to reinstitute that once again. Dave, I appreciate your call. I want to thank you so much for joining us. I mean, that's how I see it, and I know a lot of people on the left and the right. Look at Harry Reid agrees with you. You and Harry Reid actually agree on this.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but
I'm not sure either. Dr. Joe Heck joining me in studio, taking your calls at 733-KXND. I know the phones are starting to light up. We're getting to all of your calls in a moment, right here at 100.5 FM News Radio, KXNT.
This is your news source, KXNT.
And the KXNT News Time is 5:30. A fire on the west side. Good afternoon. I'm Robert Wright. Tina, firefighters on the scene of a house fire near Wallapai Way and Desert Inn Road. One house there is on fire. You may have noticed the smoke rising into the air. Fire crews have been on the scene for about an hour now. They say the fire started in a bedroom on the second floor of the house. The roof did cave in some time ago. The building sustained extensive damage. We're told 5 people do live in the home. They were not home at the time, though, so there are no injuries to report. Red Cross will be assisting that family. The cause is still under investigation. Nearly $50 million that was slated to be cut from the several health and human services programs being added back into the budget. Autism treatment programs, community health nursing, and elderly protective services are among those who will benefit from this being added back to the Nevada state budget. Although the why has not been answered yet, we now know the who and the where involving yesterday's afternoon-long apparent police standoff. We get more now from KXNT's Corey Olson.
Metro Officer Laura Meltzer confirms to KXNT that police did catch the man they thought was barricaded inside a Northeast Valley home for several hours on Monday.
About 7 p.m. last night, he was taken into custody without incident.
They've also released his identity.
The suspect's name is Julio Romero. He's 36 years of age.
Romero is facing multiple charges, including domestic violence, battery, and strangulation, and animal cruelty. We're also learning more about his relationship with the alleged female victim. Metro Officer Jay Rivera.
They were not married. They were dating. They do have children in common, and that's all we have as far as their relationship.
Police say the animal cruelty charge stems from him shooting her dog. I'm Corey Olson, 100.5 FM News Radio, KXNT.
If you're out and about driving right now, you might want to put down that phone if you've got one in your hand. We've learned that the state Senate voted 12-9 to ban handheld cell phones and texting while driving. The fine would be $50 for the first offense, $100 for the second, and $250 for each additional offense. The bill now goes before the full assembly for hearings. An assembly committee has already approved a similar bill. And it looks like it's not all fun and games for the folks who put on Spike TV's Repo Games reality show. North Las Vegas police have arrested 40-year-old Carlos Barron, who allegedly shot at the reality TV crew who were filming near Losi and Centennial. Barron reportedly became angry about a film crew van which was parked in front of his house. Right now, this news is brought to you by McDonald's of Las Vegas. Want a cool deal on a hot drink? Yes, or a hot deal on a cool drink? That's right. McDonald's of Las Vegas has any size sweet tea or hot tea, all for $1. That's any size sweet tea or hot tea. Just $1 and only at McDonald's. Right now, it's 5:33. Let's check some traffic. Karen.
We're still working an injury accident 95 southbound at the I-15. Emergency crews have left the scene, though. This is working just past the Spaghetti Bowl. It's moved to the right shoulder. Use caution past the incident. Double trouble on Rancho with a crash south of the 95 at Mesquite and west of the I-15 on Sahara. Fire crews on scene of another structure fire. This one's on Decatur between Washington and Bonanza. It's across the street from Friendly Ford. Consider using Rancho or Jones for southbound travel. This report is brought to you by San Diego Convention and Visitors Bureau. Make this the summer of fun in San Diego with SeaWorld's newest Bussy attractions, Turtle Reef and One Ocean. Get all the details at sandiego.org/SeaWorld. I'm Karen Fidel, KXNT Traffic.
From the 8 News Now Weather Center, looking for a clear sky overnight, light winds and a low temperature only in the upper 50s. Brr, that's about an 8.1 on our snuggleometer. Mostly sunny for your Wednesday with a high right around 80. It's currently 75 at McCarran Airport. I'm Robert Raitina with your KXNT News Update. Next one comes at 6 o'clock or when news breaks, and we're always online at KXNT.com. Stick around. More with the Congressman and Alan Stock when we continue.
Congratulations, Las Vegas. If you're a man with a male performance problem, Las Vegas Male Medical is here to help you get your performance back.
Christina Aguilera, CeeLo, Blake Shelton, Adam Levine. These four music superstars are finding America's best voice. But in NBC's new singing competition, The Voice, they'll have to do it completely blind.
Now next we turn to the stage. We all have to decide if we think this person can be a star.
As soon as we hear something that we like, there's a button that we push. And we get to see the person. I was dying to see what you looked like.
The Voice premieres tonight, only on NBC.
Here's this week's Tech Minute from CNET.com.
Your iPhone or iPad could be tracking you. I'm Brian Cooley with a Tech Minute from CNET. Recent revelations indicate most iPhones and 3G iPads keep an extensive database of places you've been, based largely on cellular tower connections. Now, these places and times are stored in a file on your device. There's no indication anything invasive is being done with that information at this point, but here are some tips. The data is stored unencrypted on your Apple device in a file called consolidated.db. There's even an app that can display it on a map. If someone steals your device, your movement history is theirs. So it's another good reason to put a password on your iPhone or iPad if you haven't already. There's also a copy of this data on your computer if you back up your device through iTunes. This is a good reason to go to the iTunes summary screen and check Encrypt Backup and select a password for it. With a Tech Minute, I'm Brian Cooley from CNET.
Every week, visit 60 Minutes Overtime for a fresh perspective on today's headlines from the world of news, sports, and politics. Then revisit our archives with 60 Rewind.
In a world where glamour is out and reality is in, two remnants of the glitter age not only hang on, but thrive. Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton.
Now, I must say we enjoy fighting.
Not just another news site. This is storytelling for a new generation. This is 60MinutesOvertime.com.
CBS Sundays, CSI Miami has never been hotter. Because Horatio Kane...
Put the birds in the air right now. Do it.
...and the CSI Miami team are back in action.
Stand by, everybody. My orders only.
In this town, you can't escape the heat.
We have a match.
New night, same shades.
We finish what we start.
CSI Miami, Sundays, only CBS.
Molly Rants from CNET.com.
Hi, I'm Molly Wood from CNET.com, here with another Tech Tantrum. This week, let's take a break from privacy concerns and copyright violation and talk about what is going on with point-and-shoot digital cameras. There's a report that says the iPhone 4 will soon become the most popular camera used on Flickr. All the rest of the popular cameras are those big DSLRs with interchangeable lenses. And the little point-and-shoots are going the way of the dinosaur. Well, frankly, camera makers have only themselves to blame. Why is a digital camera still the only dumb device I own? No Wi-Fi, no easy way to share photos without tethering the camera to a computer. How early 2000s? And a decent point-and-shoot still costs $300 to $400, and DSLRs are $500 or $600. Look, guys, camera phones have been around a while now. It's time to catch up to the game or get left behind. And that's it for this week, everyone. For more like this, go to CNET.com.
There's only one way to describe CBS Thursday.
It's a blast. CSI is television's most watched show in the world.
Well, yeehaw.
And this season, it's only getting bigger.
I've never seen anything like it.
Then, investigator Patrick Jane has a unique style.
Here, give me a hug.
No funny business or I will shoot to kill.
Very persuasive.
But he always gets the job done.
Ooh, schooled you.
Really?
CSI and The Mentalist, Thursdays, only CBS.
5:38 at KXNT. Good afternoon. Great to have in studio with us Dr. Joe Heck, a congressman from the 3rd Congressional District. And Congressman, thank you for taking the time. I know you say every time you're here you will stop by and you keep your word. And we talk to you almost every week when you're not in Iraq or Afghanistan or somewhere like that. Good to have you here this afternoon.
My pleasure.
733 KXNT, 733-5968. Gary, good afternoon. You're on KXNT with Dr. Joe Heck.
Hey, that's great. Hi, Alan. Hi, Dr. Joe. How are you?
Hey, Gary. How are you?
Good. Say, you mentioned, that after your tour, overseas and that, most likely, and of course most likely will stay in Iraq with police action and whatnot. Are we ever going to be compensated for doing things like this?
Well, great question, Gary, and I think that the short answer is yes. The long answer is it's a matter of when. As the Iraqi economy starts to come back and they're able to start exporting their oil, there'll be revenue to that country, which should be utilized to help reimburse the costs of the services that the United States has provided to them. And of course, that's a matter of negotiations between the two countries. But that's what I would look for. And they're starting to produce oil. They're starting to export, but it's going to be a while before they hit a capacity level that's going to generate enough revenue to support themselves and start hopefully paying off some of their debt.
With the lives and the money we have poured into Iraq, it would be unconscionable for them, to me, to do anything except turn the United States first and foremost.
Yeah, and I think they most certainly would be interested in being able to do that and trying to compensate us. It's just a matter of getting their economy back to the point where they'll be able to do it.
And of course, you'd think that would have already been negotiated with them.
Well, yeah, you would have thought that, Gary, but unfortunately it wasn't. And so it's something that we're going to have to work our way through.
Well, Godspeed. We need it.
Thanks, Gary, appreciate your call. Thanks so much for joining us. 733-KXNT, 733-5968. John, you're on KXNT with Dr. Joe Heck. Hello, John.
Hi, Alan. This is John, and I wanted to find out what the congressman's views were in maybe taking a leadership role and having Congress reevaluate their own pensions and health care and having them maybe get a 403B where they can save for their own retirement and also pay for some of their own health care.
Great question, John. The health care system that the Congress has is the same as any other federal employee. It's the same plan that any other employee would have. You go out and you pick a plan from a menu of plans, and you pay part of the premium, and your employer pays the other part. So I do pay part of the premium, just like any other employee-based plan would pay. And I'll tell you, the insurance I had before I came to this job was even better. But so now I'm in this job. So that's part of the healthcare plan. The pension issue, we have 401ks. We have 401ks as part of the pension system. There's also the FERS plan, which is the retirement system. You've got to be there you got to be federal employee for 5 years before you're vested. I certainly believe that we should participate like most Americans in a 401k, where we're making a contribution to our own retirement, and that's exactly what I do.
Okay, but how about the other senators and congressmen? Are you going to be able to maybe talk to them or put a bill together to get some of their benefits?
Well, they all the insurance is the health care is the same for everybody in Congress. There's no other plan other than that type of plan where you pick from a menu and make your premium.
How about their fully funded pensions?
It goes back to the question about term limits. The longer that you're there, the larger your pension becomes, and I think that certainly is a critical issue that needs to be addressed. I don't think anybody should retire after a lifetime in Congress and get a full pension.
I agree. John, I appreciate your call this afternoon. 733-KXNT, 733-5968. Dr. Joe Heck is here, and we'll talk a little bit about the political scene in just a moment. But first of all, have you ever been paid to try a product? If you're a homeowner in Las Vegas with good credit, now is your chance, because Connecticut will let you try a water system for free installed in your home, and you'll receive a $30 gift card from Target. Now, there's nothing to buy, no strings attached. Go to kwater.com to find out how the free trial works, and make sure you note KXNT to receive your $30 gift card just for checking it out. Now, this is the system I have in our home. and it's non-electric, sodium-free, and it's been rated a Consumer's Digest Best Buy. It provides soft-conditioned water for the whole house and the world's best drinking water without a doubt. That's KWater.com, the letter K and the word water. Connecticut now offers a low price guarantee, so you get to try the best water system free of charge, and you get the best price if you decide you like it. So go to KWater.com, sign up for your free trial. Don't forget to mark KXNT to receive your $30 Target gift card.
Are you in debt up to your eyeballs? Catch Dave Ramsey evenings from 6 to 9.
You know why I get to do this show? Because I have a PhD in GUMB. How many of you ever done something stupid?
On 100.5 FM, News Radio, KXNT.
Your parents, your spouse, your best man, all have watched your back.
I'm Adam Bold, founder of the Mutual Fund Store and host of the Mutual Fund Show, heard here Saturdays at 9.
When it comes to people who automatically look out for you and your best interests, it's a pretty short list. It's hard to know who to trust. The Mutual Fund Store works every day to make the cut when it comes to your investments. In today's nonstop world, it's tough to follow your money every day. You have other things to do. The job, home, kids, and maybe a little time left to do what you want to do. That's where the Mutual Fund Store comes in. We'll take care of your money, making investment changes when needed so it's not a constant source of worry and indecision. Leave the daily investment headache to us at the Mutual Fund Store. We have your back. If you have $50,000 or $5 million worth of investments, go to MutualFundStore.com or
call our senior investment advisor, Brad Draper, here at the Mutual Fund Store now. 702-651-6464. That's 702-651-6464.
When you're driving down the road, the last thing you want to think about is tires. Trust Discount Tire to get you up to speed on the right tire for your vehicle.
Hey, tell everybody you know about La Isla Uniform's great free offer for opening a new account. That's right, I said free. If you're the office manager or owner for a doctor's office, a restaurant, or a construction company, here's your chance to get something for nothing. Just for opening a new account at La Isla Uniforms, you'll get a free set of scrubs, a chef's jacket, or a new shirt. That's how easy it is. Stop by La Isla today, 967 East Sahara, 1 block west of Maryland, or give them a call at 734-7070. That number again is 734-7070. La Isla Uniforms has you covered with all the biggest names like Dickies, Cherokee, Converse, Skechers, and more, from your head right down to your slip-resistant feet. And speaking of feet, La Isla Uniforms has 12,000 square feet of the biggest savings, the greatest selection, and incredible customer service in a truly comfortable shopping atmosphere. Stop by La Isla today at 967 East Sahara. Open a new account and get something for free.
5:45 at KXNT, and a good afternoon. Great to have you with us on this Tuesday, actually, isn't it? That's right. Tomorrow we've got Norm joining us in studio. Norm from the RJ is RJ headliner, and it'll be fun to have him in. Right now, it's fun to have Dr. Joe Heck, Congressman from the 3rd Congressional District, joining us and taking your calls at 733-KXNT, 733-5968. Dr. Heck, I've got to ask you, otherwise I'd be remiss. What John Ensign the other day, he originally said he was going to not run for re-election, and we were wondering when the other shoe was going to drop. Last Thursday it dropped when it came out that Friday he was submitting his resignation to Vice President Biden effective May 3rd. Was it a little bit late? Should he have done this a long time ago?
Well, I think a lot of people think that, it probably should have been done a long time ago, and I'm sure Senator Ensign, did what he thought was in the best interest of his family, best interest of the state of Nevada, and to try to make sure that, we retain that seat in 2012. And, the timing is certainly the thing that he had to wrestle with. As I landed, back from my trip overseas and I turned my cell phone back on, I got the news release, that said he was going to be resigning.
Oh, you didn't know before
I didn't know until we, came wheels down on Thursday. And I turned my cell phone back on. And so, I think it'll start that healing process within the party and start, being able to let us focus on, 2012 and making sure that we retain that seat.
I agree with you. I think, I wish he had done a little bit earlier, but I think it was the right thing at the right time. So, the question then becomes, does Governor Sandoval nominate or appoint Dean Heller to that position? You've got Democrats in the state legislature saying, well, there ought to be a dog and pony show.
Right.
A cattle call, let everybody come forward, and it's like an American Idol, only it's a U.S. Senate Idol, and they can all present why they should be there.
Well, I wonder if they would have been putting out that same proposal had it been a Democrat in the governor's office.
Well, I think we know the answer to that.
I think it's certainly, the law is as written that the governor has the authority to appoint the replacement. And I met with the governor yesterday when I was in Carson City, and he plans to exercise that authority and appoint his replacement as his duly constituted right. And so I think it's the right thing to do. He'll appoint somebody, and then we'll be able to have a representative, a senator, continue to represent Nevada until the next election cycle.
And that person to be appointed, Dean Heller.
Well, I mean, he seems to be the odds-on favorite. Dean's a good friend. Our offices are right across from each other in the Cannon Building in Washington. And, I think he's certainly the leading candidate. The governor held his cards close to the vest and didn't intimate who he was going to nominate. But I think the most likely person would be Dean Heller.
All right. And if that's the case, then we have to look at the congressional vacancy, which is the 2nd congressional district.
Right.
All of a sudden now we have vacancy. Looks like there'll be a special election.
Right. After the governor makes the appointment to fill the Senate vacancy, he then has to state what day the special election would be. It has to be within 180 days, but it's his discretion as to where in that 180-day time frame it could be. But he has to set the election. No primary. It's a straight-up election. All comers are allowed to file. I guess there's some question about how the law is actually written, if the state parties should meet by caucus and present a nominee, or whether it's all comers who file, and the Secretary of State is trying to figure that out now based on recommendations and opinions from the Attorney General. But until the date is set, which the governor will do once he makes the appointment notification, we're trying to figure out how the process will evolve.
All right, so the Democrats have said that the Republican governor probably will appoint a Republican to replace Senator John Ensign. Absolutely true. But the Democrat Attorney General is going to give advice to the Democrat Secretary of State to go ahead and create a free-for-all. So you'll have 4 or 5 or more Republicans vying against maybe one Democrat for that open seat. I mean, is this a correct scenario or not?
Welcome to democracy. Right. I think that it certainly is one of the potential situations that we could find ourselves in. I mean, there's already, 3 or 4 people that have, mentioned that they were interested in running for Congressional District 2. I'm sure there'll be more that will come out once, the appointment, to the Senate seat is made. And then it'll be a matter of, how many Republicans get into the race, how many Democrats, and it's open to independents. So it could be a very, it could almost look like the Las Vegas City mayor's race, with a lot of people on the ballot, and we'll see what happens.
18 people out there, and now it's down to 2. Any preference for those 2, or you don't want to say?
I don't live in the city of Las Vegas. I'll let the Las Vegans decide
neither do
that.
I. Congressman Joe Hague joining me. We're going to continue and conclude in just a moment at 733 KXNT 733-5968. I'm Alan Stock, and this is 100.5 FM News Radio, KXNT.
You're listening to Las Vegas's only live and local talk show in the afternoon. The Alan Stock Afternoon News Show.
This guy is in a cuckold relationship and doesn't mind his wife slipping.
On 100.5 FM News Radio, KXNT.
I'm sorry, but it's just so weird.
What does the perfect water fight sound like? Is it like this? Gotcha!
Hey! Or is it like this? Take that!
It was the water fight.
Imported from Detroit, the all-new 2011 Chrysler 300 has arrived at Chapman Chrysler Jeep in the Valley Auto Mall in Henderson, and it's impressive. Come see and test drive this one-time car of the year that Edmunds.com says has been given a major overhaul that makes it the luxury car it always aspired to be. Car Connection magazine adds that the new Chrysler 300 is back in the hunt for sedan shoppers looking at Ford Taurus, Hyundai, Genesis, and Buick LaCrosse. This week, Chapman Chrysler Jeep is offering up to $11,000 cash back, 0% interest for 72 months, and including a 5-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. As always, your job is your credit at Chapman Chrysler Jeep. And if you make $350 a week, our in-house financing will approve you, period. Buy here, pay here at Chapman Chrysler Jeep in the Valley Auto Mall in Henderson. Call 558-3000 or visit ChapmanChryslerJeep.com for details. The all-new 2011 Chrysler 300 has arrived.
OAC severity of credit will affect down payment on select models. Offers may not be combined. Dealer number 1293.
Now is the time to protect the money you've worked hard to earn. With the weakening of the dollar, the government printing of more and more money night and day, and the explosive increase in our country's deficit, this is the time to protect your family's financial future. The team at Roslyn Capital is committed to helping you secure your hard-earned assets, which is why they have a buyback policy, the top rating from the Better Business Bureau, and how they maintain long-standing relationships with their clients. Protect yourself and your family from the unforeseen. Invest in gold. Call Roslyn Capital today to get your free Gold Investor's Guide and learn more about the company, its values, and its commitment to you. Discover the unique protection for your savings with gold-backed IRAs. The number, 800-752-1676. That's 800-752-1676. Or visit RoslandCapital.com. ROSLAND Capital.com. Protect your capital. Invest in precious metals. Secure with Roslyn Capital.
Christina Aguilera, Adam Levine, Blake Shelton, and CeeLo are the celebrity coaches of NBC's new singing competition, The Voice, and they know what they want.
You have the talent and you have that voice and you have that passion. It's just going to shine through.
When they hear it, they're going to fight to get it.
I really need you to pick me.
So what coach would you choose?
I don't want to make anybody feel bad.
The Voice premieres tonight only on NBC.
Every week, visit 60 Minutes Overtime for a fresh perspective on today's headlines from the world of news, sports, and politics. Go online today for the latest original feature.
Scott Pelley tells the story of Elisa Montanti and the global charity she runs out of a converted closet.
I was just focused into this letter and that this boy needed help.
Go behind the camera with correspondent Candids. Overtime editor Ann Silvio talks with Leslie Stahl.
So in other words, it's no longer shameful to do this tax maneuvering. It's actually a mark of pride.
Oh, it's an absolute business necessity.
Then revisit our archives with 60 Rewind.
In a world where glamour is out and reality is in, two remnants of the glitter age not only hang on but thrive. Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton.
No, I must say we enjoy fighting.
Not just another news site. This is storytelling for a new generation. This is 60MinutesOvertime.com.
.554 at KXNT, and a good afternoon. I'm Alan Stock, and thank you so much for joining us. Dr. Joe Heck, Congressman from the 3rd, joining us here on KXNT, and we'll try to get to a call or two in just a moment. Real quickly, have you gotten used to this traveling back and forth so far?
I don't think I'll ever get used to it, but, we do it. I guess it's important to get home to the district, important to get home to see my family on the weekends, and it's grueling, but we make it work.
Yeah, it would be. You have to leave, Monday morning, come back Friday afternoon?
I usually come home, Friday afternoon, Friday evening, and fly out first thing Monday morning or Sunday night, depending on what the Monday schedule is.
Wow. That is grueling.
Yeah. Not a lot of time at home, but we try to maximize it.
All right. 733-KXNT, 733-5968. And we'll try to get some calls in a moment. By the way, has Shelley Berkeley offered you an extra room at her place or something like that? Or
No, not yet. Not yet.
Okay. I know there was some upset about people staying in in their office or something like that. But, saving a buck and you're always at work. Why not?
It makes me very accessible.
Absolutely. All right. Are we taking this call here, Denise? We are. Well, who's up there? You want to tell me who's up there? Oh. What? You can't see it? No. Who is it? John about Wrangell. Oh, okay. I no, it's not coming up there for some reason. Wow. John, you're on KXNT with Dr. Joe Heck.
Hello.
Yeah, go right ahead.
My name is John.
Yeah.
How come we're not doing anything we keep talking about fraud?
Yeah. What?
Why aren't we doing anything with Charlie Rangel?
All right, have you take your answer in the air. Thank you very much.
Hey, thanks, John.
Charlie Rangel.
Yeah,
Charlie Rangel.
He went through the ethics committee in the House. They found him to have done, some things that he shouldn't have, and he was, publicly admonished in the well of the House, short of being, kicked out. again, that happened prior to my arrival, and I think that anybody who had done the things that he had done certainly should be ejected from the House. But the ethics committee met, they rendered judgment, and he was admonished in front of the House, which is the last thing prior to being ejected.
So, let me just be almost crude about this. It seems that Democrats get away with murder in many cases. Well, Kennedy's case it was. You didn't say it, I did. Some people get away with murder in the Democrat side. Republicans, they're caught with their hand in the cookie jar. We know who we're talking about. Then they resign. We've got two sets of standards almost.
Well, and the interesting thing was, even while all this was coming out, and Charlie Rangel ran for re-election, and the folks of his district still re-elected him.
Yep.
Even though they had an alternative.
That's what I'm talking about.
So it never ceases to amaze me how this democracy works.
Okay. Saturday night, by the way, you and I sitting at the same table, and that's going to be out at the Friends of NRA dinner. They're having their annual banquet, and it's at Sam's Town Casino at 4:30. So that's
great. It's always a good time. Been there for years. Go every year. It's a great time. A lot of great raffle prizes. A lot of good camping gear, outdoor gear, weapons. It's a great time. It's always packed. Sam's Town takes good care of us. So come on out if you haven't had the opportunity to get a ticket yet.
I have to admit it's my first time, but I'm honored. Steve Norton, thank you very much. He made it happen. Put us at the same table if you don't mind.
Not at all.
And he'll be sitting next to us, table next to with Dean Heller, who is going to be the guest speaker that night.
Excellent.
So it's going to be a lot of fun. If you want more information about the Friends of NRA dinner this Saturday evening at Sam's Town Casino, it's a nice suit affair. You a black suit and everything like that, they say. So that's kind of cool. 365-1732, 365-1732, or go to friendsofnra.org. Let's go to the